our Board of Commissioners meeting, and at 10:10 we're going to call that to order. We would offer the opportunity for public comment for items not on the Board of Commissioners agenda at this time. Is there any public comment? Feel free to unmute yourself if there was any public comment. Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will take public comment as each item is under consideration. Is there let's go to the meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 28th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Going into our COVID-19 planning and response, we will turn it over to Margaret to see if there's anything we needed to discuss there today.
No specific items related to planning and response. We will be talking about Act 1 of 2021 later in the agenda, which is related, but later on in the lineup.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. We have personnel items at the correctional facility. We have 1 through, let's see here. Actually, we have about 14 or 15 items. And would there be any that we wanted to pull out for further discussion? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve those items under the correctional facility?
Motion to approve the items for the correctional facility on today's agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion is carried. All right, going into HR, anything you'd like to talk about with this one, Kristen?
No, this is just the requisition for the appointment of Christine.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the requisition?
Motion to approve the personnel requisition for an on-call occasional office floater.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. Natalie, anything you'd like to mention for the Human Services?
Nope, these are all pretty standard hirings and leave.
Okay. Would there be a motion to approve these 3 items?
Motion to approve the 3 items for Human Services.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. For the courts, we have 1 approval from President Judge West. It's a personnel requisition for full-time office supervisor 2 in Judge McLean's office. We just want to note that. Under non-personnel items, we do have a item that would be for the premises at 259 East Main Street in Millheim. Would there be a motion to approve that satisfaction?
Motion to approve the satisfaction piece for, pull it up here, 259 East Main Street in Millheim. I've probably driven or biked by it hundreds of times.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. And then we are, as we mentioned prior, Act 1 of 2021. And so we'll turn this back over to Margaret.
Act 1 of 2021 was signed by Governor Wolf on Friday evening, and that new law designates the Department of Community and Economic Development to oversee the implementation of the County Hospitality and Industry Recovery Program grant. Yesterday, we received an application and instructions from the Department of Community and Economic Development requesting that the application signifying that the county is in fact interested in receiving these funds is due this afternoon by 5 o'clock. The amount of funds that would be coming to Center County for hospitality programs is $1,839,232, and we will be working on the program details and implementation later. But at issue this morning is approval for us to submit this grant application to DCED by 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. In terms of the grant application, it's very similar to the one that we had last year for the County Relief Block Grant. So one of the things that we wanted to look at was we could not only take a motion to apply to receive the funds, but we could also take a motion to approve the application. And it could be pending solicitor's review. That way, we have a totally clear runway in order to get this across the finish line. So there's no other hangups. That means that we could it would just be a total green light for this. So wanted to put that option on the table if we wanted to do that in addition to applying for it.
It sounds like a good idea, Mike. Would you want that as a single motion?
Yeah, you could just amend this what's currently there to include the actual approval pending solicitor review of the actual grant itself as well.
All right, and then could we have discussion afterward?
Sure, absolutely.
You okay with that too, Steve?
I'm fine.
Okay. So I would like to make the motion to approve the submission of the grant application to Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, and to actually approve the grant itself pending solicitor review.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and so yeah, we would be open for discussion at this point.
All right, I just wanted to thank Margaret for her very fast work on this. When I started 5 years ago, if we had a deadline for a grant that was less than 2 weeks, that was a huge rush, and it took quite a bit of work. And now here, essentially, DCED's given us about a day and a half to approve a grant. So I'm glad we've already been looking at this, been mindful of it. And of course, the important part from the, I think they're calling it the CHIRP now, is the current acronym, which is, let me try to pull it up here. See if it's at the top of the DCED form. Let's see. Anyway, here it is. The COVID-19 Hospitality Industry Recovery Program, CHIRP, does set up a mechanism for Center County to distribute something in the ballpark of $1.8 million after fees to the Community and Economic Development Organization handling the application process to businesses in the hospitality, restaurant and bar fields. And the grants are a minimum of $5,000 up to $50,000 in $5,000 increments. And there is a whole lot of information out there already about the grants, which is wonderful, but the time deadlines are very tight. We have to choose from a very limited list of economic development organizations to handle the application process. And then I believe we have to have an online application up and running by the 15th of March. So very tight time deadlines on this, and kind of want to thank Margaret and her staff, Jason in the controller's office and his staff, and Colleen and her staff and treasurers, plus, of course, Chad Joyce, who did fabulous work during the County Commissioner Small Business Grant Program for everything that's going to be involved with this. But we definitely want to help our firms in the hospitality field, and we'll work at getting the money out as quickly as we can according to state guidelines. So that's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments, discussion on this item? Okay, very much looking forward to the releasing the funding, getting it to us, and getting it out to, again, the entities that we know that have been hard hit. So we will be fast moving on this, and more information to come to our hospitality industry for sure. So it's been moved and seconded. Any final last discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion has carried. Okay. And then, Margaret, if you would, just maybe in terms of what would occur at this point, now that we've taken the motion, what would be some of the next steps with?
So now that approval is formal, I will complete the application to DCED. It is a single application form. It's all ready to go with the exception of filling in the signatories information, and I will click send. And then I will call DCED to verify that, in fact, they've received it. We don't want to assume anything here, so I will follow up and talk with DCED as well. We are meeting in an informational setting this afternoon to talk about the details of the two components of the bill. So there's the rent and utilities portion, and then there's the hospitality piece. So we will be working starting at 1 this afternoon on putting the framework together for implementation. We expect that we'll hear back also from DCED quickly with a copy of the actual agreement, and so it will be coming your way for signature at that point.
Okay, excellent. It's great news. Thank you again, Margaret. Okay, all right, let's see. Okay, we would then be going into a discussion item for PCHIP dependent audit. And who will be tackling that one?
So this will be handled by Kristen. It's related to our health insurance coverage and so forth. So she wanted to provide just a brief overview of what you can expect down the road.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So PCHIP, or Benecon, as we always refer to them, is encouraging, their board is encouraging that every county do a dependent audit of their coverage. So what that involves is reaching out to participants in our coverage to have them verify their dependents are legitimate dependents that we should be covering and should be paying claims on. The last time we did an audit such as this was in 2013. We did a self-audit here at the county. We asked employees to confirm that their dependents did meet the criteria to be a dependent. Since that point, we have asked for, birth certificates, marriage certificates, etc., whenever a change was made or whenever someone started. But it's always good to do a recheck. You find things from years ago or things that have changed that people didn't notify us about. PCHIP has put aside $150,000 to help pay for these audits that the counties do. They are recommending a company called BMI. Sorry, I have it here. It's BMI Auditing. This is basically what they do. They do these dependent type audits for companies, for counties. PCHIP doesn't care how we do it. They would just strongly encourage us to do one, but they have vetted BMI Auditing and they are giving group pricing for those counties that do decide to go with them. I'm looking for guidance from the board to what BMI and PCHIP and Benecon need is for us to say, yes, get us pricing on BMI if we decide to go with them. And they need to know that by February 28th. Then they'll provide us that pricing in March, which is why we have a EBT meeting scheduled in March, because by then I should have the actual cost, and they'll be able to tell us how much they can reimburse us from that $150,000 they have set aside. So it all depends, of course, on how many counties participate, how many use BMI, how many use other vendors or do it themselves. So I'm just looking for guidance if you'd like me to move forward to request the funding information or the cost estimate from PCHIP and Benecon, or if you want us to do it in-house, or what your guidance would be on this. Because the contract would really be with the Board of Commissioners. And then once we get that pricing, we would share all of the information with the full EBT as well.
If I could just add on also before we open it up for comment, this is a state of the industry type of activity. It is something that should be done on a periodic basis. As Kristen said, we've not done it here at the county for several years. And because last time it was an internal self-audit, there is a lot to be said for an external audit. And it's helpful to have had Benecon do some of the legwork for us in terms of vetting different providers and so forth. So just throw that in there. There is a lot of to be said for having an external audit this time around. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you for bringing this to our attention, Kristen. It's good to have the historical context that we have done this before and has been helpful to do it. And so thank you. Just out of curiosity, in terms of our head auditor here at the county, our controller, Jason, have you heard of BMI at all? Or I know it looks like they're predominantly a healthcare auditing firm, so not necessarily a financial, but have they come across your desk at all? I might be putting you on the spot as well. Not a worry if you're not aware. But maybe you can also get back to us if there's any technical difficulties on your end, Jason. So if it's somebody who PCHIP Benecon has looked at and said is worth us working with, I don't think it'd hurt to get the quote from them. And just to be clear, Kristen, are they setting aside $150,000 for Center County, or are they putting that together for all of the counties that are in PCHIP?
It's $150,000 for all the counties that participate from PCHIP. So I believe the PCHIP has put aside 100. Our reinsurance has put aside an additional 50,000. That makes the 150,000.
Okay.
So because the reinsurance group wants to make sure that they're paying claims on the correct people as well. So okay. But it depends again on how many people say they're going to do it, how many counties, how that money will be split.
And there is no obligation at this point. If the Board of Commissioners would say to us, indicate our interest, that's all it is. We're indicating our interest. There's absolutely no commitment in any way.
Right.
From the board's perspective, do we have any hesitancy in expressing interest in getting more information in the future?
No. I think we could probably do it internally. But I think this is probably a little bit more efficient process.
Okay, sounds good. Commissioner Higgins, any feedback, thoughts?
Overall, sounds like a good idea. Always want to make sure that the people that are on our health insurance list are actually valid. And if PCHIP will cover most of the cost for the external audit, that sounds like a good idea. I know it would be a fair bit of work to do something like that in-house, because last time I looked, I think we were close to 1,000 lives covered under our health insurance. So yeah, let's proceed and take a close look at it.
Thank you. I will just ask them to include us in the cost, and I should have that, like I said, in March. And then we can discuss it at EBT as well, the benefits of it, and then make a recommendation to the board to move forward or not.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, any executive sessions to report?
No executive sessions to report this morning. However, before we adjourn, we do need to meet just briefly on a personnel issue.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Margaret. This time, prior to us going into executive session, we would entertain any questions from the members of the press who have joined us this morning. Any questions for the board? Okay. All right. Seeing no questions, we would then look for a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session at 10:39.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We are in executive session, and we will not have any business coming out of executive session. We'll just be adjourning just to let